Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Box Office Banter, your favorite box office recap show on the entire internet. I'm Tanner Dykes, joined as always by my good friend, co-host, and fellow box office enthusiast, Tucker Hazel. He is God's dunkest driver today.
That's me. I prefer to be a box office extraordinaire, Tanner.
Oh, box office extraordinaire.
Yeah.
Well, excuse me. Tucker, we're going to use our extraordinariness to discuss the box office that was. Extraordinarity, perhaps? All of the above, I would say. For the March 2026 box office.
Yeah.
A strangely robust, pleasantly robust box office, I would say, that we have this month to discuss. Some big ol' hits on our hands, a couple of them actually, some mid-sized successes, and, of course, as there always is, a handful of flops. You know, we run the gamut this month.
Some people like a handful of trail mix. I like a handful of flops.
Okay, that's good. Okay, Tucker, but before we get into that, and before you start munching down too hard on those flops, those trail mix of flops, I want to remind the audience that they should be subscribed to Backlot Banter. You can, if you're not already, there's just an easy button you can do that right there, right under the video, right next to the little channel thingy. Do that. It's easy. Like this video, of course. Comment down below on it, and perhaps most importantly, in the description, there's a link to our Discord server that you can join. Please do.
Yeah, is that the most important one? Like, if you had a tier list, how important YouTube actions are. I
mean, joining the Discord server does nothing for our YouTube presence.
No,
but it does fill my heart with joy and rigor.
It might be the most important in that it's certainly the thing that people do the least.
I would say so.
We get views, we get subscribers. I'm not saying we get many.
That's true.
We
really get comments.
We don't get a lot of people in the Discord.
No,
joining the Discord? No.
Absolutely not.
Be the change you want to see in the world, people. Come on.
That's true. Should we get rolling, Tucker? Yeah. Should we get rolling on the top 10 openings of March 2026 at the domestic box office?
Tanner?
Number 1, with a bullet.
$80 million. Project Hail Mary has just come out and is the biggest opening of the year so far.
Yes.
We'll certainly be getting into that. That's the story of the month. 80 million, really, really, really big number.
Powerful stuff.
Coming in at $45 million is the opening weekend of Hoppers, the domestic opening weekend. Reminders of Him with $17.9 million. Durandar the Revenge, over $10 million. This is an Indian movie. We're not going to be talking too much about it. I don't think you made a slide for it.
I did not make a slide for it.
But I'm actually, by the time this goes up, I will have seen this movie, so I'll be able to tell you what it's about. Presumably revenge. But it is actually the highest grossing in the U.S. Indian movie of all time already in just a couple of weeks. Obviously made it into the top 5 here, so that's big news, but we don't have a specific slide for it. And rounding out the top 5 is Ready or Not 2, Here I Come, under $10 million at 9.
Rounding out our top 10 is the A24 indie horror hit Undertone, The Bride, which we do have to talk about, I feel, based on its propensity for being a flop.
Oh, I like that.
I had to make a slide for They Will Kill You just because it and Ready or Not 2, Here I Come are being so similar.
Yeah.
Just befuddle and confound
Tanner,
me.
Remember the last time this happened?
What was the last time this happened? It's happened a couple of times.
Immaculate and...
The First Omen.
Yeah.
Yes. 2 very similar films coming out 1 week apart. And rounding out your top 10 are the openings of, I believe these are both 20, or Turtles has got to be 30. The Kiki's Delivery Service reissue anniversary, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, The Secret of the Use.
There's no 2 on that logo there.
So maybe it is the second Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. Perhaps it is just Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
seen that movie, Tanner?
Secret of the Use. No. I've only seen the Bay ones, as people like to refer to them, even though I find that strange because Bay is a producer on them. You know, how many times do people refer to a film series as like, this is the producer's series?
Yeah, it's uncommon. But whatever. We're not big Turtles heads here.
And the animated one from a couple years ago. That's the ones I've seen. So, Tucker, let's look at our predictions. We both had Project Hail Mary at numero uno, Hoppers at numero dos. We differed. I put Reminders of Him at number 3. You put Ready or Not 2 up at number 3. We are both, of course, quite imperfect because neither of us had Durandar the Revenge in our top 5, and we both had The Bride in our top 5, which that wasn't necessarily really even that close. As we discussed, Undertone even opened above The Bride, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, the discrepancy, especially in budget there, is going to be something we're definitely going to be talking about. But I don't beat myself up too much for it. Frankly, not. No, I've never heard about Durandar, the first one. Apparently, is one of the highest grossing Indian movies in the U.S.
But these things are always so hard to gauge, especially as American film fans. Yeah. You have a passing knowledge of like certain hits of Indian cinema crossing over to the States, but like. There's like one of these that comes out a month, and like 1 out of 10 is like, holy shit, this is a huge hit. Yeah. Does anyone really know why? Does any, I don't really know. Yeah.
I know Durandar 1 is on Netflix, and so that might be something where that built up a Western or not I guess Western but U.S. based audience of people who had seen and presumably liked the first movie, and then were. Maybe then marketed to somehow. I don't know.
Well, this is the other thing that people always mention about this, and I'll take my lumps for not making a Durandar the Revenge slide, and we can discuss it a little bit here. Is that the thing that people often bring up about these movies, and the variance of a degree to which they are hits in the United States or broadly, is that especially in the U.S. these movies are not marketed.
No, yeah.
Not broadly anyway.
The only way that we would know about them is checking the app and being like, what's coming soon, like a month and a half from now.
Exactly. In that way, they're kind of similar to other, hits that cross over from overseas, like the growing trend of anime movies in particular. Where like these aren't necessarily advertised, or if we really want to like diversify the group of films that we're talking about, like an Iron Lung here, where like they just have a fan base who know these things are coming out.
Yeah, definitely. But that was our biggest miss of the month. I have to give you the handshake. You got Reminders of Him a little bit higher. Actually, though Ready or Not 2 and Reminders of Him weren't even close, so it would almost double for Reminders.
Yeah, what did I say here?
But to that point, I'm just saying I really overestimated Ready or Not 2. And I guess underestimated Reminders of Him. But what were your number of predictions so I can make fun of you?
Project Hail Mary, I said 65. It ended up higher than that, but not a crazy thing to say like a month ago.
I'll give you that one, yeah.
Yeah. Hoppers, 50, pretty close. I'll give
you definitely get that one.
Reminders of Him, 20.
I'll give you that one too. Okay, wait, hold on. Am I not going to get to make fun of you? No.
Ready or Not, Here I Come, 10.
I'll give that one to you too.
And then The Bride, I said 8, and we can discuss what it actually opened to here. Yeah.
That'll be on a slide coming soon. But Tanner, I give you Project Hail Mary is the one you were the most off from.
Yeah, I mean I was 15 off.
15's pretty far. Yeah. But you get a meaty thumbs up this month for accuracy. Right. And which Tanner, you know what that means?
Yes.
The therapy is working. We've been working for months and months to like break this bad habit you have.
Tucker, I might relapse for April. I might relapse.
No.
There's a big movie that we have a disagreement on that's coming out this month. I don't know if you remember. No. But I might be relapsing a little bit. But we'll get to that at the very end of the show. First, Tucker, we should talk about what the audience and critics thought of the March slate of films.
Pretty good overall. Look at that.
Yeah, honestly, there's only a couple that fall into that rotten range, or Reminders of Him and The Bride are honestly just under the fresh mark of 60% on Rotten Tomatoes. Everything else falls above that, and you even got 60 is fresh, 70 is certified fresh.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, you're good.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, it's a very limited window of like fresh to being a fresh movie, but not certified fresh. Your certified fresh, or your super duper ones, your 90+% are Hoppers and Hail Mary up at the top there. But everything else got like in the 70s basically. So we also have a very wide range of cinema scores being handed out here. Project Hail Mary and Hoppers, again, being to the two biggest hits and most loved movies of the month, with an A cinema score. A B+ for Ready or Not 2, a B- for They Will Kill You. Falling right in the middle there with a B is Reminders of Him, which is actually the same cinema score that Regretting You got last year.
Sure, consistent.
Yeah, consistent. And I think, what was the other one? The Blake Lively one? What was that one called? It Ends With Us.
It Ends With Us, yeah, good fall.
That one got an A- actually.
Oh, okay.
And then your two horror adjacent ones, C
Tanner,
for Undertone.
I would argue there are 4 horror adjacent movies.
Well, I understand that, but C for Undertone is pretty is like kind of what you expect for like a horror movie.
No, actually, I would say there's 1 horror movie here and 3 horror adjacent movies.
Fair enough.
Undertone's the only actual horror movie.
And then a pretty rough C+ for The Bride.
Yeah, which leads us into our first slide, because the first major movie to release of the month was The Bride, and there's no sugarcoating this at all. I mean, it's
a tough one.
What really makes this surprising is that it really breaks Warner Brothers' streak of being a hit house for the last year and change. I think it was like early last year with
it started with the run started with Minecraft and Sinners back almost a year ago at this point, actually last April.
Sure.
And out of that they had down at the bottom here a run of 9 straight #1 weekend debuts for their films.
Yeah, and so but we also have to remember that like that's just a statistic. The release cadence of these things, the production timelines, all of this is like horseshit anyway. Like things just line up in certain ways, and so like the stat was meant to be broken. Like it's not like Warner Brothers a big failure now. Like fire Pam DeLuca and or Mike DeLuca and Pamela Abbey. Like this is just. Nothing can last forever, and so like I'm not super like dejected by the Warner Brothers streak being over. It's like okay, it was a good run.
Though I think it speaks to the 2 people that you just shouted out there, Tucker, the sort of creative heads over at Warner Brothers Pictures, Pam Abdy and Mike DeLuca, who this was like their slate. It obviously took a couple of years from when they were hired to like when the films that they greenlit actually got produced and released and everything. But like this was their slate, and they proved to have a miracle run that did get ended by The Bride, which I would say is not a super successful movie, but speaks to the exact kind of movie.
Tanner, I don't think they would say that either.
Well, I meant like as an artistic work too. Financially, of course, it's not really up for debate. But like, it speaks to the exact kind of movie that worked for them for all of last year, basically, which is either. They had like Minecraft and Superman, which are like trusted brands that like, obviously that makes sense to make a movie out of. But then you had things like Sinners and Weapons and One Battle After Another, which are like they took a gamble on a big project from a prestige filmmaker.
Even Bong Joon-ho last year, Mikey 17.
Bong Joon-ho, exactly. Thank you. And it worked out.
The Alto Knights.
Tucker, that came before the
I know, but it was like back to back.
It was.
That was March of last year. February?
Mickey 17 and Alto Knights was both March of last year. Yeah, because they had 2 back-to-back flops, big flops, before they had that miracle run. But I mean, you do that, and eventually you're going to stir up one that like doesn't connect with audiences because it is such a distinct, singular vision of one creative, and that is definitely, for better or worse, what The Bride is.
And you're right. That's what you get when you take creative swings. And even for you, I actually have not seen The Bride yet, though I'd like to. Didn't work. And this is kind of an across the board, like they gave a creative the budget that she wanted to make a big project. $80 million budget is huge for this kind of movie. I will ask, as someone who has seen it, do you feel an $80 million budget on the screen there?
I mean, I would say so. I mean, there is, obviously you're paying some big stars like Christian Bale and Jesse Buckley, of course. The movie looks good. I mean, people joke and say that like, oh, this is like a Joker movie kind of all over again. But like, honestly, a lot of the creatives, like behind the camera people, even Hildur Guðnadóttir as the composer, like have come from Joker over to make The Bride. So like, it looked really good. The costuming and the production design, it's all like 1930s America.
And as much as people shit on Joker and Joker for Leia do, those are both very good-looking movies. The production design, the lighting, the color grading, all that is excellent in those films.
Yes. But no, it is just like the scripting, and then honestly Jesse Buckley's performance that just like completely falls flat here.
Yeah, I mean, $80 million budget. this movie is donezo in terms of taking in new money. $23 million gross. I mean, this is one of those ones where you scroll, you're like, in 15 years, you'll be looking on Wikipedia and be like, oh yeah, I guess Christian Bale was in like a Frankenstein-ish movie.
Yeah, remember how
much money did that movie make? And you'd be like, you do a little, and you'd be like, did someone type this in wrong? This supposed to be $223 million?
No.
It's really bad, and people didn't like it, and it didn't do well either. Like there's no sugarcoating, no like bonus. Oh, at least blank. It also is one of those ones where, given the previous movie from Maggie Gyllenhaal, maybe you and of course the talent present, you might have thought this could be something for awards. But I think they probably test screening wise realized that wasn't going to happen, which they put out in March as opposed to they could have done it late last year.
It was supposed to be a September release.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which would have
or October,
which would have slighted it in that sort of, hey, we're getting this up to get a little bit of awards buzz,
right?
But yeah, there's no cherry on top of this.
No, yeah, I just noted a couple things that
this is
really
a poop
just
Sunday and it ain't even got a cherry.
No cherry on top of this thing. I did note a couple other things that I just found kind of interesting. Speaking to Warner Brothers just being like, yeah, we're just taking the loss of apparently about $90 million on this thing. It dropped in week 3. It dropped from 3,300 theaters to less than 1,000.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. They pulled this thing hard out of theaters.
Yeah. And what's the next Warner Brothers movie?
What is the next one?
Do you know? Yeah, if you don't know off the top of your head, it's not really that big a deal. But like,
I can find.
I think they're probably just like, look.
Oh, Tucker, it's The Mummy. The Mummy is Warner. Or no, it's not. Is it?
It's not. Is that not a Universal movie?
I'm gonna look. Lee Cronen's The Mummy. Sorry, I think this might be a weird thing where like it actually is a Warner Brothers. Because they maybe. Do they? It's distributed by Warner Brothers Pictures.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. What about?
Because it's a new line.
Okay. Oh, all right. Well, we'll see how that turns out this month. But yeah, I mean, there's not too much to talk about here. Big budget and didn't make it back.
Nope, it did not.
And this is one of those ones where I wonder how this potentially damages the directing legacy of Maggie Gyllenhaal. Like, she probably have to work her way back up to a budget like this.
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate, but like it's her second directorial feature. Yeah. Her first one was a Netflix release, of course. Mm-hmm. So The Lost Daughter. I think unfortunately she might get, it's ultimately up to her. The companies that she wants to partner with to like produce films, but yeah. I don't know if she gets another $80 million budget. I think she might get another $10 to $20 million budget, like she probably had on The Lost Daughter.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about something that is a little bit more pleasing, because I would say, Tanner, there's not a downside to this one. When we talked about the Poop Sunday without the cherry, this is a real Sunday with a cherry. Hoppers is the latest release from Pixar. They haven't been doing many early in the year releases lately.
When was the last one?
They haven't. It might have been.
This like. Luca. Yeah, well, those were streaming releases. I think Turning Red was like a Disney Plus in March, so like that was.
Yeah.
But they used to do they for a while did like the March and June kind of release slots. And this is the first time they've gone back to that spring release slot in a while.
Yeah, because we since the Disney Plus era of the early 2020s, we've just been getting their summer movie.
Exactly.
They even turned one of their March movies into a summer movie when they delayed Elio. Jesus, Tanner, remember that poster was up for like almost 2 years?
I remember.
That was fucking crazy.
That.
But yeah, Hoppers is a original film from Pixar that releases in this early slot, which we haven't seen in a while, and just murders. I mean, people are loving it. 94% on Rotten Tomatoes is one of the highest rated Pixar movies. $150 million budget is one of these sort of comparatively smaller Pixar budgets. Actually, I think most of their movies end up around there. But
they're usually a 150 to 200. Yeah.
And it's certainly going to make that back and then some. And this is also one of those movies that they are just Tanner, they are drooling. They're like, oh, we got to get this on Disney Plus. Oh my God. The amount of streaming hours these annoying fucking snot-nosed children are going to spend. Yeah, this is just a win all around. By the time it's done, Tanner, what is your final projection for a total gross for Hoppers?
I mean, it's at 3 right now.
We're coming up on a month of release.
We're coming up a month of release. Is there a kids movie that I am
Tanner?
forgetting? What?
I saw it last night.
Oh yeah, of course.
Galaxy movie.
Yeah. I'm seeing it in fucking 48 hours or whatever. Is
there a children's movie in early April that I might be forgetting?
Well, Tucker, I think you're forgetting that movie is for 30-year-olds.
That's a great point.
30-year-old Nintendo fans.
That's a great point.
But obviously that will cut into this. Though I think it'll still have plenty of legs. Because what's the international split? It's making a little bit more internationally. Let's say. I'd say 4. I'd say 4 is the ceiling on this one.
I'm gonna take the Mario bite out of our beavers here and say that 360. I think it's really going to be hampered by a movie that's going to eat up all its screens and also just general children family interest. I think that people are going to want to go see Mario instead.
There's another movie that is performing strangely like a family film that we'll talk about in a little bit.
Sure.
Another big hit that we'll be talking about. But to focus back in, Hoppers is an outright success. Obviously, it has doubled its budget so far. It is, and more importantly, I think culturally, it is a Pixar back on top kind of thing. It is their biggest their biggest performer for an original animated film since Coco back in 2017.
That's amazing, man. That was such a long time ago.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
I think this is an announcement to a lot of people that, and to me, like as someone who watched the movie and quite enjoyed it, that like Pixar is able with their originals to sort of innovate and adapt with the times while not being, not shelling out to maybe things that people are saying about the Mario movie, where it's like, it caters to like short attention spans, and the script doesn't make any sense or what have you. I kind of felt that with Goat from earlier this year, another kids animated movie that I saw, where I was like, this just doesn't feel like holistically produced and created and like well timed and everything like that. Whereas Hoppers totally fills that void for me. Totally circumvents those issues of like, how do you make a kids movie nowadays that isn't like trading on these are characters you recognize kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the kids and parents alike really like this. It got received 90% definite recommend from kids under 12 in that amazing opening weekend. Very strong walk-up business. That word of mouth really helped this out in that opening weekend. 62% of that opening weekend was walk-ups, not pre-reserved tickets or anything like that. So yeah, people are really digging on Hoppers.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see, Tanner, when we start bringing this decade of Pixar movies to a close. Because I've got the list of 2020's Pixar movies pulled up.
Yes.
Onward, Soul, Luca, Turning Red, Lightyear, Elemental, Inside Out 2, Elio, and Hoppers. I want us to just think about this. We've been talking about Pixar a lot, actually, in the 2020s as a studio that's kind of in flux, and their sort of cultural appreciation is like ebbing and flowing. Almost everything they've done has been original films. And Hoppers is the first one of those to like really hit. I would say Elemental is probably one step down. And then Luca, Soul, Turning Red, people like these movies a lot, but they didn't make money because they weren't in theaters. What I'm really interested to think about is which of these films will become the franchises that we then see more from going forward. I think Hoppers is the first one I'm a little bit more confident in.
Sure.
Of this being something that we see a Hoppers 2 or a Hoppers Go to Space or whatever the fuck. In the early 2030s or something like that.
Yeah, I could see
because
that.
a lot of these I'm a little bit more unsure. But I don't think a lot of these are intended to be sort of franchise things.
Probably
We've
not.
got also Gato and what's the market? The Ghost Market, something like
Ono's
that.
Ghost Market. Yeah.
Ono's Ghost Market, yeah. And And they're also then working themselves back into a better balance between sequels and original work.
Well, Tucker, you say that these movies aren't initially aren't like planned to be a franchise or whatever, but was The Incredibles planned to be a franchise? Back in 2004.
Well, it took them 11 years, 12 years. It was 2018.
14 years.
Yeah. But no, that's a good point. Yeah, but it'll just be interesting to see. And of course, one of the sequels that we got, Inside Out 2, that's also something that took almost a decade.
Exactly.
To work out what a sequel to be. So, but yeah, I think a Hopper sequel is probably.
I'd say so. It's certainly not out of the realm of possibility, especially with how much people are absolutely loving this one. It's the first one that's really connected in a long time, especially in theaters. So, Tucker, let's move over to Reminders of Him. This is the new Colleen Hoover adaptation, of course. It is doing quite well. It is outpacing, Regretting You from last October. It has so far made about $68 million, showing some fairly strong legs. I think it'll end up maybe around where Regretting You was, but it opened bigger.
Sure.
And, doesn't have necessarily the star power of Regretting You, or it doesn't have the book doesn't have like the notoriety or the novelty of being the first adaptation like It Ends With Us was, but ultimately it's also like the best reviewed, notwithstanding that A- cinema score for It Ends With Us, this is by far kind of the best reviewed of these adaptations. So I think it's all I think if I saw this one, I think it's also the best one.
Sure. You gave it 3.5, Dan.
I gave it 3. I don't like these movies. Let me be clear.
No.
But I think it's Micah Monroe. I think is probably like the best performance I've seen out of one of these. So she's kind of like the saving grace of it for me. Anyway.
Yeah. So there's a couple things here that I think are kind of interesting.
Okay.
As we've now seen a 3-movie trend of Colleen Hoover adaptations being successful at the box office, is that. One thing you mentioned here is a third of moviegoers who went to Reminders of Him attended because of Colleen Hoover,
right?
And another third cited romance as the main
the genre basically is why they went.
And the romance thing is the thing I'm most interested in out of this, is that these are some of the only studio release romance films that we've gotten in the last few years, and so I think there's just really a budget for, or not budget, a hunger for that. But then the Colleen Hoover thing, I'm like really fascinated by. I haven't seen Regretting You or Reminders of Him, but I'm like, I keep thinking I'd like to, because this is the first time that I can personally remember a author really being the draw. Of a series of films.
Like it's a kind of a replay of like the Nicholas Sparks thing, which was obviously popping off when we were like very young in the early 2000s, and I guess that sort of stretched itself into the early 2010s before it really fizzled out. But no, this is a very strong replay of that, or even like if you want to do like the John Grisham movies of the 1990s as well.
Yeah, and I would say also, like John Green with Paper Towns.
Sure,
like that was
there was
kind
a
of
couple
thing,
of those, yeah.
But then a lot of the other things that are successful literary adaptations are much more genre stuff.
Of course.
We had Hunger Games and Maze Runner, and even the Martian and Project Hail Mary that we'll talk about. Like all this stuff is. You could see a lot of people just going to see it because it's big space.
Tucker, big one. Just for the record, we should shut this one out. A little film series called Harry Potter, if you're familiar.
But a lot of these things, it's interesting, become then more widely known for their film adaptations.
I would say so. Yeah.
I think
more people have seen the Harry Potter movies than have read the Harry Potter books.
Maybe.
Absolutely. That has to be true.
Tanner, aren't the Harry Potter books like is it like the best-selling book series or something ridiculous like that? Like,
I think 10, 15 years ago that may have been a closer thing, but like
sure. You sure? Yeah. I don't know.
These movies have a lasting legacy more than the books, I would say.
But the point I'm mostly making is that it's quite unique for the modern movie market, for people going to see movies specifically because they are adaptations of an author's work. And I think that's part of what is making them so successful, is that there isn't a lot of competition for this, but whether that is in the primary appeal for a female audience, romance as a genre being underserved right now, or literary adaptations being underserved. And so Tanner, is there another Colleen Hoover adaptation like
yes, of
this
course.
year? Or...
In October, we will be getting Verity, which I think has the strongest potential to be a It Ends With Us sized hit. Not because necessarily that book is as famous as that her sort of flagship It Ends With Us one, but because of the star power involved. That is a Anne Hathaway, Josh Hartnett, Dakota Johnson starring feature.
Yeah, that's gonna be big.
It comes out in October, which is when Regretting You came out, and liked out pretty well over that fall season. So yeah, I have quite a bit of confidence in that one. That one also seems to be. I think obviously it will have like the same trappings, but that one also seems to be perhaps a little bit more thriller inclined from what I am recalling from the plot summary. Maybe more akin to something like a The Housemaid in its plotting.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up.
Than like a like intertwining romance drama of reminders of him regretting you. It Ends With Us.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on Reminders of Him before we move on?
No, I mean, these films, I also just thought it was worth noting that, like, these films also overperform, commensurate to other films when compared to other films in the Midwest, especially Reminders of Him. This is a film that's set in, like, Montana or whatever. There's a lot of mountains and woods and pickup truck imagery, so, I just thought that was worth pointing out.
I do think it's... I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm a guy who isn't particularly urban or like rural in like my mindset. But I do think it's funny someone being like, "Oh man, I know nature. This is a movie that has shots of nature. I'm gonna go see it."
I mean, Tucker, as someone who definitely comes from one of those backgrounds, I think it might be as simple as like, "Oh, she's wearing like cowboy boots in this movie." That intrigues me.
It's a relatability.
It's like, oh, this woman like looks and dresses kind of like I do, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, almost like representation.
Representation. Hang on a second. Huh? Hold on. Time out. Throw the flag. Hang on a second. All right. Tucker, let's move on to Undertone. So this is a really interesting film that I wanted to talk about. Not a film that I particularly liked. I think it has some material in it, especially if you're a horror fan. I think it has some things that you'll be able to draw out of this. I don't think it fully brings it home, but that's speaking to my feelings on the film itself. Yeah. This is a unabashed hit for A24, and also a great indicator of the kind of thing that keeps this company in business.
Sure.
This film, Tucker, cost $500,000, $500,000. It has made nearly $20 million at the domestic box office alone. It does not have international distribution.
Yeah, which I assume it will get at some point.
At some point, potentially.
Soon.
Yeah.
And given that it's horror, I expect a pretty sizable chunk of like Mexican and European appeal of people like. Oh my god! Like what is this? Like people like creepy shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that $500,000 budget is it might be the lowest budget that we've
has to be. It literally felt strange to me deleting like the M number or the M letter that we usually attach there. I was like, it feels wrong to do that.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, if we want to speak, I did do a little bit of digging as to why this film was so low budgeted. This was an independent film, produced by or directed by Ian Tuason, who it was filmed in his childhood home. So like, there's your fucking location scouting done. It takes place entirely in this house. And the production cost was less, as there about $500,000. It was picked up by A24 after doing a brief sort of film festival brief run. I think it did Fantastic Fest and then Sundance, and it was picked up last summer by A24. And then they really hit the ground running marketing this thing, being like, Undertone, fucking sound horror movie, scariest movie you've ever heard. Ding dang, there, boom, done. Like doing that kind of.
You know that the guy who came up with that in the marketing team, had this big goofy grin on his face, like, You guys are never gonna believe this.
And then what's even more ingenious about this film's release and marketing is that they were able to parlay that sort of like auditory hook of the movie into like, oh, you should go to see this in a theater that has especially good sound. You should go to see this in like Dolby theaters or whatever, which coincidentally cost a little bit more cheddar to go see it in those. And 22% of the opening weekend business of Undertone came from premium large format screens.
Yeah, and that's gotta be pretty high for an A24
Absolutely.
movie. The only other movie that I can really think of from A24 as of lately that would have gotten a benefit from this is probably Civil War.
Civil War, maybe Warfare doing the same thing, kind of.
Maybe, yeah. But for the most part, they don't really push for that.
No.
I mean, most weeks that an A24 movie comes out, there's usually something a little bit bigger.
Absolutely.
That already has either just come out or came out the week before.
Right.
That's going to be taking up those screens. And it's just like, a lot of the movies that they make don't really like scream for that, and that's fine. That doesn't bother me at all. But it is cool that, I mean, this has got to be one of the lowest budgeted movies that then got a major premium large format push, which is very, very cool. And noting down here at the bottom that the director Ian Tuason will be teaming up with Blumhouse to direct Paranormal Activity 8. Tanner, when was the last theatrically released Paranormal Activity film?
Oh,
I don't fucking know.
Shit.
I have no idea.
Was the marked ones streaming or released?
That sounds like a straight to VHS.
The marked ones. They went back to VHS for that one.
But I think that's a really good synergy there. Keep the budget low, as Blumhouse is pretty good at. Get a guy who's good at working on a horror on a low budget. I think that's going to be a hit for everyone involved. And I really like seeing that kind of like natural progression.
Yeah. Tucker,
Tanner, what?
Paranormal Activity, The Ghost Dimension. Do you remember that one? Paranormal Activity, that is the 6th film in the series, was released in 2015.
Wow.
And then did sort of like kill the franchise, because then it wasn't until Next of Kin was released on Paramount Plus in 2021. That was the most recent Paranormal Activity film. But we're going fucking back to theaters with the Paranormal Activity movies next year, baby, from Ian Tuason.
Yeah. That's exciting. I actually this is my first time hearing about this. From this little combo here. I'm looking forward to that, and I do want to see Undertone. It seems like a interesting, unique, and also 72% certified fresh from Rotten Tomatoes. Not to besmirch your taste, or I do on occasion. You're an outlier here.
I am an outlier, and so yes.
I'll be curious to see what I think.
It seems like a lot of people saw this at festivals as well, especially a lot of film critics, and I can understand like if this like comes out of the blue at you, being like, oh wow, this is like really crazy, and this is a statement from this first time director and everything like that. But I was sort of comparing this to like all other horror movies that I've seen in theaters or whatever, not coming off of a long festival day, and I was like, yeah, there's like some scary stuff in here, certainly. Just like didn't blow my socks off or anything like that.
Well, that's Undertone, everyone. But time for the story of the month. Project Hail Mary, opening to $80 million, as we mentioned, on a budget of $200 million. This is movies. Tanner.
This is the good stuff right here. This is a certified movies are back moment kind of deal with Project Hail Mary. It is doing very, very, very well. $322 million is legging out incredibly well. Only dropped by 33% in its second weekend.
That's
making 54% or $54 million in its second weekend. And basically, I think based on like IMAX agreements and everything like that, is being shuffled out of IMAX screens relatively soon, but like because it is such a big hit, is making a play to like come back, in some certain windows in a few weeks, which like they only do for real phenomena. I mean, they did this last year with Sinners, where that was such a massive hit, and they're like, well, we gotta put this thing back in PLFs,
Top Gun Maverick,
of course. This is really tracking to do very, very well at the box office. And as I mentioned or alluded to a little bit earlier, especially overseas, is playing like a family film, which is really interesting. Not just like a sci-fi blockbuster, but like something that kids are going to. This is quite family friendly. It has a funny little alien sidekick kind of thing. Like that's what a lot of people are digging about Project Hail Mary. Is this sort of lovable comedy, buddy duo thing on top of like feeling like you do need to see it in a large format, in an IMAX screen, in a PLF screen. 54% of that North American opening weekend came from IMAX and PLF screens. Over half of its opening weekend gross was IMAX and PLF.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to mention here that it is the biggest opening weekend for a non-franchise film since Oppenheimer, which did open bigger, but
by like $2 million. Also, it's like this was 80, and
very close.
Oppenheimer was 82.
Oh, okay. I thought for some reason I thought it was like almost 100, but I guess I'm just misremembering.
Yeah.
But also important to note, like we bring this into conversation with something like a phenomenon like Sinners last year. This is going to outgrow Sinners. Sinners topped out at 369 total last year. But Sinners also opened way lower.
It did.
Domestic opening of 48 as opposed to 8.
And that had like a single digit second weekend drop or whatever. But this just has, people, and I think we've probably discussed it too, like this just has international play that Sinners does not.
Oh, yeah. No, that's definitely true. I mean, the unfortunate truth is there are a number of countries where black lead-led films are just less marketable, less interesting to the general populace.
Sinners is a very American kind of story. It's set in the American South, playing all of the racial tensions that existed during that time. Whereas Project Hail Mary is like, it's space. Like, obviously, Ryland Grace is like, they're representing America or whatever. But like, he's also Ryan Gosling, and he is a recognizable face for audiences around the world.
Yeah. Now, I think I'm just trying to think of like how this will hold in comparison to other movies upcoming. I really don't think there's anything in April that takes up this slot. I mean, we think of it as, we might think of it in part as a family-ish movie, but it being live action, more of a blockbuster kind of thing. Even the gargantuan success of Mario, which will quickly eclipse Project Hail Mary, I don't think stomps out Project Hail Mary from being something that people are still talking about.
I also think it's going to be a thing of like, you ask people in like 6 months or something, they're like, hey, what's the best movie you've seen this year? A lot of people are just going to say Project Hail Mary. Like, this has brought a lot of people out. I was like, oh, this thing is good. Like, it's funny. It's lovable. It feels like something that needs to be seen in a movie theater. Like, this is just hitting the combo of things that you need to do to convince people to go see a big original blockbuster in theaters.
Yeah. I've been doing this a couple times here.
Yeah.
What's your projection for a total gross? We're a little bit closer to the release of this film than we were some of the other ones we were projecting. Do you think this crosses 500 total?
I think it does. I think it does at this point. Cool. I mean, I have done at the bottom here. It had a better second weekend hold than like Doom Part 2 from a couple of years ago, which did 280, 275, 280 domestic. And this is tracking above that, so this could do 300 domestic, and then maybe it's doing about the same internationally. It's about a 50-50 split. So I'd say that this could hit 5, maybe even 6 as a ceiling for this.
It is important to note the domestic international split for Doom 2 was 40-60. Doom Part 2 made $714 million.
Yeah, sure.
This is not going to make that.
No.
But I mean, still over $500 million, I think is probably safe.
Yeah.
And that does make it one of the bigger hits. $200 million budget is very high. I'm not saying this movie doesn't deserve that. I think it looks excellent.
Yeah.
And the production and the special effects are definitely there, and practical effects as well. But it's great to see a movie that is not original, but ostensibly is to the masses, bring out a lot of people. But also, it's funny just to think about how movies like this and like Sinners, which we talk about as phenomenons, we talk about as people's favorite movie of the year in both of those cases. The total gross performance of a phenomenon original film is nothing compared to a phenomenon franchise.
No.
We're talking about literally, even if this makes 500 being an amazing gross,
right.
Like that's like a third or a quarter of what the biggest movie.
Yeah, that's gonna be like, the Super Mario Galaxy movie is going to make that in fucking 5 days or whatever.
Yeah. And so it's just interesting to think about, like, when we do get these kind of hits, do not underestimate them. Champion them where you can, but like, we got a long way to go to like push the sort of boundary of like if we're getting people really out to see movies.
Like honestly, you know, just thinking long term about this, it's probably going to end up in a very similar spot. You know, if we're looking back on the year that like Sinners was, it was like, hey, remember when that came out early in the year? Everyone was excited about it. Everyone loved it, and it's it's like the original movie in the domestic top 10 for the end of the year.
Correct.
Yeah,
yes.
that's basically what that's kind of what Project Hail Mary is going to be that, I would say. And then also, like, you know, we're just coming out of Oscar season, so, you know, fucking bonk me on the head with the stupid stick for saying this, but like, when in its opening weekend, I was like, everyone's loving this, of course, but like, is this really like an Oscar play kind of thing? But like a couple of weeks down the line, I was like, fucking seems like it, I guess. Like,
yeah, probably.
Like, just fucking, we got 9 Best Picture slots open now. It kind of seems like things could change, of course, but like, you know, it seems to be that kind of beloved kind of film.
Yeah, and it's very cool.
Again, the kind of thing that like industry insiders, Academy voters, or whatever want to hold up as like, look, this is like what original films can do and get people excited and be really good.
Original asterisk.
And well, yes, it's of course based on an Andy Weir novel, but we gotta take it where we can get what we can get now.
It's definitely true. I think that a third category of ostensibly original is something that
non-franchise. I think that's what I used here.
Oh yeah, that's a great that's a great way. I think one of our heroes, Mr. Dan Murrell, I think also says something like that when he's doing his charts. But I think that that's important to include the asterisk. It's based on a novel. The novel was very popular. Yeah. Andy Weir's work is something that people know more so than most authors. But most of the people, definitely for this scenario, most people who saw this movie did not read the novel, and so for them it's just like, and most of them probably don't even know. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's really cool when something like this happens.
Definitely.
But Tanner,
here we go.
Returning to the world of slashers.
Yes, the unfortunate opening weekend sharer with Project Hail Mary is Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. Directed by Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillett, you know, Radio Silence team, of course, who directed the first film back in 2019, and then hit a stride of doing a couple of Scream movies, doing an Abigail, have really found their niche in doing this kind
of... An Abigail-type
movie. Have found their niche, and they came back to Ready or Not 2, Here I Come, 7 years later, crazy, and this film is simply not performing as well as the first one did. The first one had a budget of $6 million and made almost $58 million at the box.
That's amazing.
It's really nuts. But this one has a $14 million budget, has made about 25 thus far, and seems to be fizzling out quite quickly.
It'll probably just touch 30. Yeah. If I had to guess, but still, Tanner, that's a profitable film.
It's a profitable film,
and you have to give props for props are due. Yes, this is a much smaller hit than Ready or Not. We're probably not going to get a third film, which is fine. Mm-hmm. But $14 million is a perfectly reasonable budget. That is a low budget film, all things considered, based on Hollywood standards. And so. Yeah, I don't know. I think that this is people really like Ready or Not, but did it really warrant a sequel? I think
that's a question.
More in question.
A question a lot of people have posited. I mean, like, even if you adjust the opening weekend of Ready or Not 2019 for inflation, this film technically opened lower than that, which is worth noting, I would say.
Sure,
but you know,
but we also have to note. That was 2019.
It was 2019.
That is one of those peak film-going years of the modern era.
Yeah. But you know, it's not to say that like Searchlight. This is of course a Searchlight film. You know, which back in 2019 they were sort of an independent studio, and now they fall under the giant Disney tent. This is the widest Searchlight release since The Menu 2022, which was a more of a hit than this will end up being, of course.
Yes, definitely. Tanner, I just looked it up. Do you remember off the top of your head what The Menu kind of gross total
worldwide gross of the Menu?
Yeah.
Did that do 100 worldwide?
No, it didn't.
Okay. 75?
$79 million.
Okay. 79?
That's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money. That movie was a big deal, and is like, you know what, like I just remember that being a weird case of like lots of people in Letterboxd are watching this. It was like one of the first major like Letterboxd hits, strangely, like Letterboxd fueled kind of things where you know then it hit like streaming and everyone was watching, you know, like people who didn't have Letterboxd were watching it or whatever. But Tucker, we digress.
Do we? Okay.
We do. I said it at the top. I think this really did just suffer from sharing an opening weekend with Project Hail Mary, which it's sharing a lot of the same demographics. This is like a horror slasher comedy. So it's targeting that like 18 to 34 age range. Yeah. It like had some PLF screens, but obviously Hail Mary was like the big dog on those. 10% of its opening weekend gross came from PLF screens. It was just an unfortunate set of circumstances between, you know, this was like trying to find a good release slot. It was supposed to come out next month, this month rather, but then moved back to March, and also premiered at South by Southwest earlier this year. You know, the kind of movie that like usually would parlay a premiere at that festival to a very soon following theatrical release. Quite similar to, Tucker, unless you have anything else to say about Ready or Not 2, here I come.
No.
Quite similar to They Will Kill You, which also premiered at South by Southwest 2026. Also is a hack and slash sort of horror comedy involving a female lead fighting against a Satanist cult who has kidnapped her sister. This is They Will Kill You, directed by Kirill Sokolov, who is a Russian filmmaker. This is his first English language feature film. Stars Zazie Beetz and, you know, a couple other, you know, assorted, like, faces you recognize. Tom Felton, Heather Graham is in this. Patricia Arquette is in this. It is faring worse than Ready or Not 2, just because it is, you know, an original film and follows that film. It came out the week after. And I usually don't pull quotes like this or like anecdotes like this from Relish Mix, which is a sort of social media aggregator who sort of takes a look at the holistic conversation around film releases. But I felt it was worth noting because like it's not just us film nerds who are feeling this. There is online conversation that is like, this movie just looks just like Ready or Not 2.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And there's the people also complained about spoilers in the trailer. The trailer basically showing you the whole movie. I don't really remember seeing a trailer for this film particularly, but no. I mean, this movie had a budget of 20. It's higher budgeted than Ready or Not 2.
Interesting.
Opened far lower and is going to make far less.
Yeah, it's an interesting scenario because I do think that the similarity is the thing that's really gonna kill this. And let's do a little thought exercise here.
Okay.
How far apart would the two movies have to come out for you to not feel like, oh, I just saw this? Because I honestly think that even within a calendar year, I think you're thinking, oh man, didn't one of these just come out?
Yeah, I think
which is like
for broader, more general audiences, I think you could do like a spring and a fall release and avoid that.
That's probably
but like
true.
Tucker, we would be like, this movie's fucking just like Ready or Not 2 that came out earlier this year.
Yeah.
But like I think if you have a couple of months of separation, even that will sort of wash over for a lot of general audiences. Not that many general audiences are coming out to see either of these films anyway. There's sort of smaller, niche horror comedy kind of plays. You know, these are not crowd pleasers by any real stretch of the imagination. But anyway, no,
I just think it's interesting.
Yeah.
And I think it would be fun to double feature these movies.
You certainly could. You certainly could. They're both currently still in theaters. For how much longer? We shall see. we shall see.
That is actually it for the specifics on movies. We'll take a look back at what happened last month and how the movies kind of legged out. Wuthering Heights opened first in February.
Yep.
And it got to 236.
It did.
Now, Tanner, we're talking about sort of cultural hits here.
Yes.
How does a 236 Wuthering Heights kind of land for you?
I think that you have to take into account what kind of movie this is, ultimately. You know, this is by far and away the biggest hit for Emerald Fennell as a writer-director. Is a reestablishment of Margot Robbie and her star power, Jacob Elordi for that same metric. And, like, you know, these creatives, these actors got a classical romance adaptation to nearly $250 million worldwide. I think that is a success. I think I think you had to chalk that up to a they did it kind of situation.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think that my like sort of internal projections of like, oh my god, Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi, like I kind of thought this was going to be a much bigger thing. But you're right. For the kind of genre that it is, this is definitely big. Goat went from 133 in week 4 to 180 in week 8.
Yep.
Good luck, have fun, don't die. Didn't even make another $1 million.
It's rough. That's rough for Gore.
That movie's so much fun.
Yeah, but you also have to consider.
You also
have to consider like this is a fucking Briarcliff release. Like this is if you look for their ledger books, like this is like holy shit, this is the most money we've ever made probably. Except on maybe like a like Liam Neeson action movie. I know they have a couple of those.
Probably. Crime 101 went from 58 to 71. Now, important to recall, it was a very big budget movie.
It was.
So this is a theatrical flop.
This it's also an Amazon MGM release, and sort of their business presence. I don't know how it changes if their mind for this has changed now that they're going more seriously into theatrical film. But like for a long time, when they released a film theatrically, it was just like, we basically just want to make back what we spent on advertising for this movie, and then it's a fucking Amazon it's an Amazon Prime movie, and people will watch it for the next however many years, you know.
Yeah,
and we discussed this even last month. It was like, oh yeah, I mean, look at the faces on this poster. You want those on your banner for Amazon Prime. Yeah. It was like, oh,
look how dry and simple this poster is.
Exactly,
that's gonna look great on Roku.
Don't you want to watch this 55-year-old man who's gonna fall asleep in the first 15 minutes?
And then closing things out, Scream 7. Now, Tanner, these can't all have come out in week 4.
Tucker, these were all Valentine's Day release weekend.
Oh. No, not Scream 7. You're right.
Yeah.
Those 4 movies. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember our discussion last month? I was just like, I mean, we're going to be like 90% talking about the movies that came out on Valentine's Day weekend. Because otherwise, the other options that you had were The Strangers Chapter 3 and Scream 7.
Scream 7 went from $112 million to $204.
Yep.
That's a hit.
It's a hit. Yeah. I saw that they had,
much 2 hours in.
I just saw that they announced the writers who are going to be taking on Scream 8. So, you know, as expected, we're getting the Scream 8 probably a year or 2 from now.
We'll see what they can do with it.
We'll see.
But we actually, it's funny talking about Radio Silence. They're the ones that brought Scream back to prominence in a very big way.
Yeah.
But this movie, when they are not there, and a much worse movie than the 2 that they made, is the biggest of those 3.
It is.
And so it's just like, well, you know, you throw your hands up
again,
in the air sometimes, and you're like,
Some things happen where you're like, Hollywood's going to learn terrible lessons from this.
Absolutely true. Absolutely. But if we look back at what the sort of our thoughts were on the movies of March as compared to Marches of the past, Tanner.
Yeah.
Maybe March fucking sucks.
I think March might suck. I mean, like
March might suck.
You get a good movie, maybe even 2. Last year we got 2. We got Mickey 17 in Black Bag, which I wasn't too hot on Mickey 17, but I would say time has been kind to that film in my mind.
Sure. I mean, you remember the antics.
I remember the antics.
You remember Mark Ruffalo being funny.
But
you remember
good
ridiculous shit.
Fucking Lord, Tucker, March 2024 is being buoyed so hard by Doom Part 2. Look at that.
No, that's actually interesting. I mean, that Doom Part 2 is one that we both have. It's like somewhere in the 9 to 10 range, which is again what's buoying up the average, as you mentioned. Every other movie there, at least to my recollection, I don't exactly remember what scores we gave them when we reviewed them. But if I'm doing a mental vibe check between you and me of Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire, Kung Fu Panda 4, Imaginary, and Arthur the King, I mean, like, Arthur King's probably the best movie there,
It's
and
like-
that's like
that- for me,
a 4.
That's like a 4 out of 10.
yeah.
we're talking Kung Fu Pandas.
my
Maybe
God.
Kung Fu Panda's like a 3, and then Imaginary and Ghostbusters are like a 1 or a 2.
Holy shit! Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I love movies.
Yeah. Movies, good times.
Yeah, but this month also not great. Again, I actually didn't see the mixed or bad movies, so
yeah.
this is really.
Hey, you
all
saw the
you.
good ones. You saw the good one. I should
did
say.
see the good one.
Yeah.
No, I saw Hoppers and
Oh,
Henry.
you saw Hoppers. I forgot about that. Sorry, Tucker. I didn't.
I saw that.
I didn't take your score into account on that. What'd you give that, Tucker? Hoppers.
I think I would get 8.
Yeah, very good movie. Like that one a lot.
Yeah. So it would be a little bit higher.
Yeah.
And also, let's be honest, I'm sure I would have given all those movies a higher score than you.
Yeah, probably.
And so
That's the trend that we've discovered over the last several years. Several years.
So maybe it would be a little bit higher, but I
Yeah.
haven't seen the movies, and so this is accurate as of now. But Tanner, give me a little bit of breakdown here on what you feel about this March as compared to the Marches of the last 3 years.
This March was very, very good, especially when you compare it to March of last year. As we just talked about, the movies were not good, and they were especially not connecting with audiences. Mickey 17, flop. I mean, what was the Snow White?
Snow White
was the highest grossing, was like the biggest hit of last March, and like.
Well, I don't know. I mean, like. Culturally, it might have been a working man. Frankly, I mean, like
sure.
people actually
But
kind of went to see that.
I financially, I think it's Snow White for sure.
But also, like, Snow White's also the biggest flop of that one.
Well, that's a good point. You know, we have all the swings and roundabouts, of course. But yeah, everything I saw in aggregating numbers for this March was that, like, yeah, you know, the big hit, like 75% above what this weekend was last year or whatever. So yeah, a huge.
But again, I gotta be honest. I think that's Snow White.
Yeah.
Because if Snow White had performed in the way that I think people were thinking it would, as in the legacy of these other successful, even I mean, Snow White's even compared to like Little Mermaid, like it's like night and day.
Yeah.
But like, if this was a Lion King or a Beauty and the Beast or Aladdin or whatever, that would have made it probably neck and neck with
it. Probably would have
this one because those are so big.
They are.
But that just like that left a vacuum where nobody went and saw fucking anything in March 2025.
Nobody saw anything in March 2025. In 2023, or sorry, 2024 rather, like you had your Dune, obviously, and like Ghostbusters was a hit, and Kung Fu Panda 4 especially, that was a big hit as well. So like we're still ending up below 2024 just because we only had 2 major hits this time around. But, you know, I'd say very healthy for a March box office, right in the hunt of where we were in 23 and 24.
Kung Fu Panda 4 made almost $600 million.
Yeah, people. That's just the thing of like families were just so starved for like an animated movie that they could go out to, and now you know they're getting like a Hoppers and Mario back to back basically with a Project Hail Mary right in between.
Yeah, I don't know, a little sandwich.
Yeah,
little Rocky sandwich.
That's right.
An update here on the highest grossing domestic movies of 2026. The March was the strongest month of this year. I mean, and frankly, not even close because the top 2 movies of the domestic box office both came out in March.
Yes.
Project Hail Mary with 169, and not too far behind, Hoppers with 138 are the new top dogs of the year now. Probably not by the end of this weekend, but
no, probably not. I would say no.
That's so funny.
Reminders of him also pops into to the 7th place there. So yeah, we'll continue to see like the bottom 3 or 4 movies shuffle out as we get big hits. Talk about we'll get to what April has to offer in a little bit. So I'll reserve that question for you for a while. I would say.
I mean, the question is
what's gonna pop in here?
April movies will jump in. Making 25 solo meals currently at the bottom is not hard.
Not
to
hard
do.
at all. I would say there's probably
3 or 4.
Probably 3 or 4 movies that'll make at least that. I would say.
Yeah. So we're about to get on the first true blue blockbuster.
We're doing it. We're getting it.
And then also
worldwide numbers as well.
Updating the worldwide numbers. Project Hail Mary and Hoppers both in the top 3, but behind a massive Chinese movie, as that usually happens. Pegasus 3 At 609. I mean, that's not even close.
Crazy stuff. Speaking of, we talked about a little at the top of the show. Drawn to Heart: The Revenge, also at number 9 there, $147 million.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's truly amazing. $147 million.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Because also Indian films are, even the biggest budget, are not that expensive.
Right.
And so that's a huge hit. And I will let you know my thoughts coming soon.
Sure. Headlines, Tucker. Headlines. So But first, I'll just start out here. I know what I was leading into this. Arnold Schwarzenegger has said it was like a bodybuilding like Mr. Olympia thing or whatever. This is not an official press release by any studio, that Christopher McQuarrie is going to direct a Conan the Barbarian sequel.
Tanner, this is something that, you know what this is?
What's that?
This is a footnote on a Wikipedia page that you're going to check in 10 years. He said that?
I was really going back and forth on if I should include this because of the level of this is never going to happen vibes that I was getting.
It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
No. Tanner, you know what I remember quite often, and this is a really stupid thing for me to remember, but is how many directors were at one point attached to direct. I think it was the last Voyage of the Demeter. There was like 4 or 5 decent name like actors and directors that were supposed to be involved in that movie that was in development hell for like 20 years. And how we were like, huh?
Yeah.
This is one of those things where I'm like, it's gonna be like, source, fucking hardworking gentleman website.
Well, that's my thing. Is it like this is not a studio announcing this. This is not even in the trades that are like breaking this scoop or anything like that. This is from Arnold Schwarzenegger, Tucker, who is how old, by the way? If he says that he would be starring in this film.
How old is Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yep. How old is he?
Is he 73?
He is 78 years old.
Oh, 8 years young, Tanner.
Yeah, that's right. 78 years young. So by the time this movie, like, hypothetically would be coming out, he'd be 80.
This would be 2 years from now? No, this would take longer than that. They haven't started pre-production on it.
I don't know.
It's not a real movie.
He says McQuarrie is writing and directing, so I don't fucking know, man. So he'd be 80 when they're shooting in your world, in your mind, your production timeline for this thing. So I just don't think so.
No, that's not gonna fucking happen. No. Yeah, well, Terry, this would be the dial of destiny.
Also, like,
of Conan the Barbarian.
Another question for you, Tucker. What was the last movie Arnold Schwarzenegger was in?
I don't know.
Let's find out.
I mean,
Let's find out.
Like movie or like movie?
Let's say movie. Let's say theatrically released movie.
Tanner, here's the honest God truth. I never saw even Terminator Dark Fate in theaters.
The fuck is
I don't think I've ever seen Arnold Schwarzenegger in the theaters.
You didn't see Terminator Dark because that was the last one. I haven't seen anything past U2. Wow. So yeah, Terminator Dark Fate was the last theatrically released film he was in.
2019.
2019. This is asking me to remember that movie. He's the T-800, which does not really count because that's a de-aged Arnold Schwarzenegger. They get a different guy to be him. Is he actually in that? He's not on the post. Is that him on the poster? Is that him?
Tanner, I think it's time for a Dark Fate rewatch.
I think it might be. But anyway, so no. He's we're talking about this too much. It's not gonna happen.
No,
unless it does, and we're wrong.
What's the actual answer if it's not that?
He was apparently in a Chinese movie called Vi 2: Journey to China.
What?
As Captain James Hook, of course.
What?
Before that, what the fuck is Killing Gunther? That's got to be a streaming movie. Wonders of the Sea 3D. Okay, this is gonna be my guess because my guess was, if you asked me, it was gonna be Aftermath, which is a 2017 like drama.
I don't remember that at all. Wait. Oh no, I've seen this poster.
Yeah,
I would say that counts. Yeah.
Anyway, Tucker. Disney has staked out 3 untitled Marvel Studios release dates in 2029. So this, we're in like sort of the down year of lead up to like Secret Wars or Doomsday and Secret Wars, of course. Because we got only 2 this year: Spider-Man, Spider-Man, Doomsday. Next year is just 1.
Just
Secret Wars. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then 2028 is three films, 3 dates that they have untitled, and 2029 is now also 3 films they have untitled.
It's a little bit scary, Tanner, that we're truly moving on to another phase of Marvel.
Yeah.
Like, we have spent so long, because they announced so many projects.
Oh, yeah.
In, like, 2021 and 2020. I guess it was, like, 2019 and then, like...
Yeah, 2019
back around
was
like
the big Comic-Con, or was that D23?
Well, they had multiple. Because they were, like, doing Comic-Con D23, announced a couple shows here, announced a couple movies here. Here's Armor Wars, here's Ironheart. You know, like, we're just, like, going through it.
When was the Doomsday Secret Wars announcement? You remember when that was?
No, that was later.
Okay, that was later? Okay, yeah, that was, like, 2021, right?
It might even been later than that. 'Cause those movies were supposed to have already been out.
Yeah, right.
They were supposed to come out in 1 year. I don't know. It's a whole thing. But my point is, we've known about this, like, full slate for years now.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're coming up on the last couple of projects, and then a whole slate of a hopefully just a fresh
this is gonna be my question for you. Like, what are these movies gonna be?
Exactly. That's like
Armor
Wars and Blade are the only other two like in the ether. But yeah, I know. But you're gonna laugh at them because
those are not getting made. Well, it's gonna be X-Men is one of these.
Yeah, and Spider-Man 29, right? 28. Like
another Spider-Man. Sure. Tanner, yeah.
They were doing them every 2 years.
They were. That's a good
point. For 6 years.
That's a good point.
And now it's been 5. And so, like, 2 or 3 years from now would be time for another
Shang-Chi
Spider-Man.
2 is apparently happening. You know, the Wrath of Time or whatever the fuck that one's called or something. Anyway, we can move on.
Doctor Strange 3?
Doctor Strange 3, that one's got to happen, of course.
Black Panther 3.
Black Panther 3, yeah. So we're filling it out.
Yeah. Interesting.
Universal.
Marvel. Marvel.
Universal has extended the theatrical window to 5 weeks for all films that they will be releasing this year.
That's solid.
Next year they'll be doing 7 weeks. 7 weeks in theaters for all the films that they're releasing.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
why'd you skip 6?
I don't know. But anyway, I think this is a really good sign. I think it speaks to Universal kind of being like the GOAT of the major studios we're operating right now, especially turning around their behaviors from the last several years. Because for a long time, if you remember, Tucker, they were like the 18-day window. If like it was like they were the studio that had a rule. It was like, if you don't make $20 million or whatever, we're pulling you from theaters after 18 days.
Yeah. So does this in 2027 guarantee that even like, let's just say it's fucking Night Swim.
Yeah.
Night Swim's going to be in theaters for 7 weeks.
It sounds like it.
Frankly, I'm going to be honest, what good does that do anyone? Guaranteeing it? I don't know.
It legitimately makes them more money.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Well, we'll see how this turns out, if this really if it's like changes the vibes around the theatrical marketplace. But Lilo and Stitch 2, Tanner, has been dated for May 26, 2028. There we go.
Kill me. All right, moving on. The trailer for Spider-Man Brand New Day has totaled more than 1 billion views. This is the highest viewed trailer for anything ever. More than fucking GTA 6, more than fucking Spider-Man No Way Home, more than all of this shit, man.
That's amazing.
Yeah. This is crazy.
That's amazing. No, I find that interesting, because obviously I saw it as soon as I could.
Yeah.
I made a reaction to it. I haven't really heard anyone talk about it. It might just be like where I am at this point, or like my friends not being maybe as interested in Marvel as we would have been 5 years ago when No Way Home was coming out. But I mean, it's pretty amazing, and I'm curious to see how that translates.
Yeah,
into
I mean, of course,
box office.
these things are always a little shaky. Of like, well, trailer views, how does that really feed into box office? I remember, of course,
but highest ever is like.
It's like that's something, right? It's got to be something. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, obviously this movie's gonna be a big hit, but like, I was always thinking like, well, not as big as No Way Home, obviously, but maybe closer than we thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only one that made $1 billion, right?
No, Far From Home made $1 billion.
Oh, true. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
I think this will be a $1 billion hit. I'll say that.
Yeah, so do I.
Stephen Colbert.
That only $1 from every viewer counts.
That's true. Stephen Colbert and his son are writing a Lord of the Rings sequel film.
I'll take something that'll never release for fucking 500. You know?
So yeah, I think this was like a weird announcement that this would take place like 14 years after the end of Return of the King or whatever.
Yeah.
It would be about like,
and it was gonna be like Sam and Merry and Pippin or something.
Sam, Merry, and Pippin are like retracing their steps, and then also like Frodo's daughter is there or something. I don't know.
We're doing fucking Cursed Child for Lord of the Rings. What's going on here?
I mean, honestly, yeah, that's what it seems like. But like, it seems to be Warner Brothers.
This is, by the way, just to be clear, because I'm not like super familiar with Tolkien. This is not a previously existing story. This would be an original.
I tried to wrap my head around this. It's like taking a part of Lord of the Rings that he didn't, or that was not adapted in the Peter Jackson movies, apparently, and like sort of interpolating it into a sequel, I think. Because that's also what they're doing with The Hunt for Gollum, this movie that's coming out next Christmas, same day as Avengers Secret Wars, supposedly, is this like part of the Lord of the Rings that was not put in the movies. So they're really just like chiseling out just little fragments of Tolkien's books. They're like, well, this could be something. This could be a 2.5 hour movie, right?
Yeah.
Which worked really well for the Hobbit movies.
Yeah, and it works really well for Star Wars.
Yeah.
When we're like, oh shit, there's like this guy that was like on another planet.
Just
it's like
grab that crowbar and just squeeze something in between two movies. That's what you want.
Yeah. No, yeah, it'll be... Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit as a narrative that was written a long time ago doesn't... I mean, it does have wiggle room. There's been plenty of stories told, but we haven't felt that in the theatrical marketplace yet, and we're just, well, fuck, we saw that fucking anime.
Yeah, War of the Rohirrim, of course.
I forgot that happened.
Yeah. Many people, but wasn't that confirmed to be just literally a thing of them needing to retain the theatrical film rights?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh my fucking god.
Tucker, some of the best news of this month, honestly, after talking about stuff that is not going to happen or is confounding to us, OpenAI has shut down Sora, their video generation tool, which has killed the $1 billion deal they had with Disney.
Which we talked about not that long ago. Which was going to be, they integrate this into something like Disney Plus so that people can kind of generate fucking Mickey Mouse saying slurs or something. I
don't know. I think there maybe be some safeguards up around it. Ideally, I don't fucking know. But no, this is going to be a thing of like, it would be integrated into Disney Plus, where users could create their own user generated stuff with characters that did not have like actor face likeness. That was the major thing. It could have been like Star Wars creatures, like Darth Vader. It could have been Elsa. It could have been like Stitch or whatever. Basically anything that was not a live action character with like an actor's normal face was just like, you could generate like these people having a fucking lightsaber battle or whatever.
Yeah.
But no, this has been killed. Apparently, Disney is still pursuing this kind of thing with other AI companies, but this has got to be like a major setback to those plans.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, a lot of this stuff has kind of been percolating of like, hey, maybe this stuff isn't going to be as big as we thought.
Yeah.
Because apparently this was just losing them a lot.
It was losing them $1 million per day to run Sora. Crazy.
That's smart and good.
Hey, sounds like good business to me, and we should give these guys more money, I think. It sounds like they're really smart with it. Anyway, the last bit of news that we have here, Tucker, unless I'm going to go to the discussing video and just see if I missed anything, is The Housemaid Secret has got a confirmed release date of December 17th, 2027. Same release date, by the way, of Avengers Secret Wars and The Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Yeah, I think this is kind of interesting because we saw The Housemaid be one of the surprise hits of last year. We talked earlier about this sort of thriller, female-focused film being something that's underserved, and I'm happy to see a because we talk about building and franchising. It is actually very important, especially in the money side of the market, not necessarily the creative side. But I like The Housemaid, and I'm interested to see where that goes next. And I think it's going to be a big hit. I mean, I don't think it's going to release on that exact day. I think they'll probably find a slightly different window for it. But yeah, I'm happy this is happening because I do. One thing that I think about a lot is people paint like originality in our circles and film circles and sort of creative circles as like this black or white thing. Sequel bad, original movie good. Sequel creatively bankrupt, original movie or new series the best thing that can happen.
Yeah,
I think there's a little bit of a gray area where a sequel or a couple of sequels is a healthy thing to do. Continue to build worlds and characters that people recognize, that people revisit, but not squeezing it too dry. I do think that there is a point where you're on your 9th or 10th iteration and you're let's move forward. But I think that a sequel to a hit movie is a good thing.
I don't think anybody who is like, man, they're making a sequel to this movie that was a big hit and got people to go to the movie theaters. I was like, be a serious person for a minute. Be a serious person. Like, they've been doing this for forever, man. Like, I don't know. Maybe we're making a straw man.
Do you remember The Thin Man?
Yeah. Maybe I don't know. But yes. Hey, Kirsten Dunst is in this. That's pretty cool. Sure. Anywho, Tucker, should we talk about the releases?
Shout out to Kirsten Dunst's manager.
True, getting her in Minecraft movie too, getting her in The Housemaid's Secret.
Yeah, which is another little news thing we did put on here. But Kirsten Dunst has been cast as Alex in the Minecraft movie too. Yeah. I think that's not a very good choice, but we'll see. I think that she doesn't
Tucker,
have the energy.
Is it going to ruin the creative backbone of a Minecraft movie too?
I mostly mean like tonally.
Sure.
I think that Jack Black and Jason Momoa have a boisterousness and a crazedness that like matches this wackiness. Kirsten Dunst is an actress that I have enjoyed in some things, but she is, for the most part, pretty low energy performer.
Tucker, you gotta go back. You gotta get the minds, baby. You're thinking of like, oh, she's in like Power of the Dog or whatever. These deadly serious movies. Tucker, she's like Bring It On and stuff like that. She has this spine.
30 years ago.
Well, she's still got that in her. She's a good actress.
We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of that casting, but we'll see.
Anyway,
did you have any other little bits and bobs?
No. Tung Tung Tung's a Horizons Fortnite. You want to talk about that?
That's not a movie.
Nope. Tucker, April 2026. The films that we'll be releasing this month. You have, of course, already seen the Super Mario Brothers Galaxy movie.
There's no brothers.
Yeah, Mario and Luigi.
It's not in the title.
Boom! Gotcha. Tucker, I thought you were a fucking Mario fan. What the hell, man?
I thought you were a fan. I thought you knew this.
The Super Mario Galaxy movie. Excuse me. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. Is coming out today, actually. The day that we're recording this. April 1st is the technical release date of this film. It has a 5-day opening weekend just to bolster those numbers a little bit more. But on this upcoming Friday, we have the release of The Drama from director Christopher Borgli, starring Zendaya and Robert Pattinson. Next weekend, April 10th, is You, Me, and Tuscany, which is a little, just a nice Italian, or it's not an Italian film, it's set in Italy, a rom-com. And Faces of Death, which is sort of like an ensemble. I don't really know. Like I tried to steer clear of like marketing for this because I am excited for this movie, but it's got like fucking Charlie XCX in it. And it's got about like crazy serial killer like videotaping people dying.
Never even heard of it.
Yeah. Then April 17th, we have Lee Cronin's The Mummy. And Normal, which is a Bob Odenkirk has a gun movie. Not enough of those out in the world.
One of those.
And then April 24th is Michael.
Now here's a question about Bob Odenkirk and these fucking movies that he's made like 5 of at this point.
Yeah.
Another guy that we know and love, Liam Neeson, also been doing that.
Right.
Way into the age where he should not be doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Will Bob Odenkirk be doing this until he's 85?
I mean, this is like number 3 of him doing these, unless I'm forgetting one. But it seems that way. He seems to like doing them.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know what else. I mean, sadly, I don't know what other place he has in the theatrical marketplace anymore.
Sure.
So, fuck it. Why not? And April 24th sees the release of the Michael Jackson biopic Michael, and another A24 film, this time from David Lowery, starring Anne Hathaway and Michaela Cole, Mother Mary.
Yeah, it's an interesting month. We will see how things pan out at the end. What are our predictions, though?
Well, Tucker, first of all, I have something very important. I'm breaking the fourth wall with the audience here. Okay. You and I are in a movie draft team with several of our IRL friends. Yes. And we just did a draft a couple of weeks ago on Oscars night, basically. And it came to my attention that everyone has an Anne Hathaway movie on their team except for you, good sir. And I was wondering, like, could I guilt trip you? Could I implore you to drop something from your team and pick up Mother Mary so that we all have an Anne Hathaway movie on our teams?
Oh, no one picked Mother Mary.
No one picked Mother Mary.
Because we got what? We got Verity. We got
End of Oak Street,
Devil Wears
Prada 2, The Odyssey, and Mother Mary.
Oh. No.
Fuck. I thought I could. I thought I could put you on the hot seat live on air and see if I could get you.
No, this is not going to get me any. That wouldn't get me points.
Chuck, apparently this movie's kind of bad. It came out. It finished production like a year and a half ago, and is just now getting released because apparently it's not very good.
Okay, wild.
I don't know though. I'm gonna watch it and form my own opinion, but that is what I have heard. That is what I have heard.
But Tanner, our predictions.
Should we pull the sheets back here?
Zoom.
Look at this. We have the exact same night. Hey, how about that? Okay, that's you know what, Tucker? That happens, and I think there's just a clear cut 5 that you need to have this time around. Yeah. Like I will. I just don't think there's anything else. I just don't think. No. Unless you want to take a flyer.
Because something like Normal could have been, but that movie's not gotten marketing. I didn't hear about that movie until like a week ago. It's
like a Magnolia Pictures release. Like
exactly.
These are just not studios. These are just not production houses that like get top 5 box office kind of stuff.
But my point mostly being, if this exact movie with the exact cast and the exact script and everything was a Lionsgate movie, we would have heard about it 4 months ago, and it probably would have opened to, $12 million or whatever, which might have put it in the top 10 or the top 5. But our predictions are, again, we have the same. Yumi and Tuscany, number 5, the drama, Lee Cronen's The Mummy, Michael, and the Super Mario Galaxy movie.
Yes.
Tanner.
Yes.
You said you're going to relapse. You're planning on this. You're planning on relapsing.
I'm planning on relapsing. Not a thing that a lot of people do with a relapse.
Is Michael the one that you're planning on relapsing with?
Yeah, I would say so. Okay. So, I have my numbers here, Tucker. I'm going to say...
He relapsed a few times, right?
He did. A couple of times. Yeah. The Super Mario Galaxy movie. I almost said brothers again. The Super Mario Galaxy movie, I'm saying, will make $180 million over the 5-day weekend.
5-day.
Yeah.
Sure.
Michael, here we go. And I might regret this. I might. I just don't.
Tanner, please, for the love of God, do not say over 100 million.
No, I'm not. It's under 100. It's under 100. But like, we're still 3 weeks out from the release of this movie. Some of the box office like accounts I follow on X the Everything app have noted that pre-sales are a little light on Michael.
Sure,
a little lighter than you might expect.
That's not the end of the world, though. We've seen plenty of movies have mysteriously light pre-sales.
Should I go? I'm gonna go 60.
Okay.
60 on Michael. For Lee Cronen's The Mummy at number 3, I'm going to say, what did I say? 20. I'm gonna say $20 million opening weekend. Another movie that apparently is quite poor, but like I've seen that trailer. Trailer looks good. Maybe it's just a trailer that cuts together well. It's also like 2 hours and 15 minutes long, so I don't know what the fuck's going down in this movie, but maybe that might push some people away. But it's it's a branded on some level horror movie. I think it'll get a solid amount of audience in. Now
the branding of mummies,
branding of people know like The Mummy. They associate with like fucking Brendan Fraser or Tom Cruise if you nasty. But I think people know that concept at least.
Or Boris Karloff if you're really fucking
nasty. If you're really fucking nasty. No, I would say that it's less nasty to associate it with Boris Karloff than Tom Cruise.
That's actually true.
Yeah.
God, Tanner, God. I'm just like, I'm shooting energy waves to you. If you and I just had infinite time and we could spend a month reviewing every movie called The Mummy. Oh, God, those movies are so different, Tanner. The movies are so different.
Yeah. Little Curse of the Mummy action with what the fuck is that guy's name? Terrence something, right?
Malick, yeah.
Yep, Terrence Malick, the director of the Curse of the Mummy.
Yep.
Anyway, 4 and 5, Tucker, is if you wanted to mix it up, I think there's an argument to be made if you have if you're informed that you could swap these two. I think there's an argument to be made.
No, hold on. What does that imply? But neither of us are informed?
I would say I'm sticking with the drama at number 4, just because I'm like, the movie star power and marketing that A24 has been doing for the drama, I think is going to buoy it still.
Correct.
I'm not going to spoil anything. But Tucker, I think we're going to have like a turned up to 11 kind of materialist situation here, where A24 is like, hey guys, come and see this like kind of funny, kind of zany, kind of weird like romance comedy kind of thing with these two actors in it. Whereas if you know things about the drama, if you've perhaps been on Twitter and heard people spoil this movie, you're like, oh, general audiences who might be tricked into going to this are not fucking ready for what this movie is about.
Yes. That doesn't matter. We're talking about the opening weekend.
Which can collapse under word of mouth. Let that be known.
It can. It's rare, but it's certainly possible. Mm-hmm. But I think this movie's gotten very good mark.
Yeah, I think
it's got 2 very marketable stars.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about the opening weekend. You might be right more in the long term, but
because I think they'll probably
Yumi in Tuscany is not a great name.
No.
Neither star in it is particularly big for a box office draw. I've seen like one trailer for it.
Yeah.
The marketing's not as clever. I think there's no shot.
I would say so.
It has a higher opening weekend.
I'm gonna say drama 15, Yumi in Tuscany 10.
Okay. All right. I think I would say what the numbers are. I think it's probably a little bit bigger gap between those two. But yeah, all right. Well, we have the same. And Tanner, if you want to say that you're informed and awesome, why don't you go switch them?
I'm not gonna switch them. Just because, as I said, like I think I am anticipating this weekend a little bit of a firestorm at the box office with people coming out of the theater being like, "What the fuck?" But I don't know if that's gonna be enough to burst its bubble down to number 5.
We'll see.
I mean, like, Materialist was that to a far lesser degree. Let's be clear, and still like did really, really well. So
true. Yeah, it's one of the highest grossing A24 movies.
It's crazy, fucking nuts. I have a caller, so I think we better sign off here. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. We'll see you in May to talk about April. And then, operating at that cadence. You know what we do around here.